I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Let's move on to number 5, adoption of minutes. Discuss approval of minutes from the TIRZ 1, 2, 3, 4, our center board meeting on January 18th, 2024. Does anybody have any questions? Have you had a chance to review, concern, or complaints?
I'll make the motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Discuss and consider amendment number 1 to the Crossroads Parkway Extension Partnership.
Okay, so there's a handout, or maybe it's just in the packet there, and it's got a resolution 2157. This is a prospective thing for the city council to approve. So what we're going to be talking about is, does the Power Center Board and the TIRZ Board, do you guys want as a board to recommend city council adoption of this resolution? Okay, so that's what we'll be talking about. And this resolution does a handful of things, and it's all built off of the agreement that we signed in 2020 on Crossroads Phase 2. So I'll use a map for a little bit of this conversation. We kind of beach up the map sometimes here, so think about it like this. I've got Crossroads Phase 1, which picks up down in this area right here close to Film Alley, swings along FM 148, so that's going to be Film Alley, Marshalls, Ross, Hobby Lobby, Academy. It's going to be some of the restaurants up here on this edge over here. So that's all Crossroads Phase 1. The Crossroads Phase 2 agreement is basically from the drainage going back to the west. Okay? That's essentially the area where the Crossroads Phase 2. So this is in a 2017 agreement. All of this is in a 2020 agreement. Okay? So this 2020 agreement is now what we're going to talk about, because under this agreement, we wanted to make sure that a handful of roads got done, and we always thought we were going to be doing a little bit of city work to make sure that we get over the hump with a couple of the major expenses over in this zone right here, where I've got the pond, the prospective hotel event center, another hotel over on this location, an outdoor entertainment center over here, and here's American Way. This is where that city park is being developed right over here. So I'm kind of right in the middle of a whole bunch of things that are of high interest to the city. And we wanted to make sure that when we had an opportunity to get Independence Parkway extended all the way from Spur 557 down to Sage Hill, that we were able to get the whole thing built at one time, save ourselves some construction costs there, and make sure that all of this goes along effectively. So if you're kind of following what's going on in real world construction, Venture Phase 1, which is what I call it because that's the company, Magnolia, is open here. Phase 2 is getting ready to open, wrapping up construction here. These guys with Westwood, the apartment complex here, they are about to break ground. So I've got 300 units here, 300 units here, another 300 units here, and this Crossroads Parkway comes down through here. It'll get extended off over to this point, and then we want to make sure that Independence Parkway provides this circulation over on the back side. As you know, we're working with NetRMA to build the Sage Hill Parkway from American Way to Independence. There's a part of that that's not eligible under our NetRMA partnership, which is the sewer line. So we've always known that we're going to have sewer line work to do on our own out in that area, and we're identifying that it would be a cost savings to the city overall if we had the sewer line installed when Independence is installed. Okay? So we're looking for savings all the time, and we think, okay, here's an opportunity for us to save a little money on the existing city obligation there to pull off the wastewater line from here to here. So that's generally what we're talking about, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. This map over here gives you a little bit. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Can you pull that?
yeah.
So what is above the purple right here? What's that? Where
This
is,
is just a little,
no, what roadway is going
that's
across?
Crossroads Parkway.
Okay. And Crossroads and the spur is,
Yeah, think of
when I
Crossroads.
cross over 20, where is that? So Crossroads is where everything is right now, where the orange is.
Exactly, right. So
Okay,
if I'm
up
driving-
there.
Yeah, think of it from, I came from Dallas on I-20, right? I'm driving from Dallas on
And
I-20.
you take the spur.
I exit, well, I'm in Dallas and I'm driving on Interstate 20. I'm not on 80, I'm taking Interstate 20.
Okay,
I'm driving along Interstate 20 and I want to exit 148.
yes,
And I drive up 148, I go underneath of the I-20 main lanes.
There we
I'm
go.
Under those bridges, and if I'm driving up 148,
There
well,
it
I could
is.
turn right and go into Buc-ee's, or I could turn left and go over here to
and at the
Hannah
light,
or
at the light
Philly
is
or-
Crossroads.
Exactly, I get up to the light, and that's where Starbucks is and Chick-fil-A is. If I turn left, I'm on Crossroads, and I go through this way. So that's the front entrance
Okay.
of the apartment complex. And so what we're contemplating here is, as I extend Crossroads going this way, and this apartment complex opens, there's a little stub of Independence over here, and there's a little stub of Independence over here. Well, in order to market that retail, in order to open that apartment complex, in order to have a hotel event center, in order to have that hotel, I need the circulation of, I'm driving, now this time I'm coming from Forney and I'm on the spur, I need to be able to exit Independence and go all the way down first to Crossroads, and then I need to be able to cross the wetlands and get over here to this hotel event center site. So I'm looking for circulation on the back side of this.
Okay,
Okay?
got it.
All right? So when I turn the map over, you can see a little bit of a close-up of this part of it, right? So we're gonna build Independence from Sage Hill all the way to Spur 557, okay? And this is the route, and this is the wetlands crossing right here. I've got a delineated wetland here, and I've got need to get some sewer improvements here, and sewer improvements going all the way down this way. Whenever we do our net RMA partnership, previously approved item by City Council, whenever I do my net RMA partnership, I've got to build a $5 million roadway, and that's what net RMA is going to be borrowing money to do. But what's not eligible in that? What's not eligible in that is the sewer line that goes from here to here. If I don't have this sewer line from here to here, I'm not going to sewer a hotel event center, and that's why that was always on our docket, because we're trying to provide an incentive to get that hotel event center done, okay? All right, so that's the question. You say, all right, well, what's the status of hotel event center, right? The status of hotel event center, I'm sorry, go ahead. Say again?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Right, yeah, what's going on with the hotel event center?
Kind of like surprised me there.
Right, yeah, so yeah, I actually am going to answer a question. So on Hotel Event Center, we approved an agreement in October. We patiently waited for performance from our partner, which was Turgo and Commonwealth. Turgo and Commonwealth have dropped out and said, well, we want to do it, but we're just not ready to buy that land right now, right? So that's fine. Right now, we have a list of 6 other hotel event center developers who want to pick up the deal and get the deal done. So we still remain confident that that's a good place for a hotel event center. We want to do the hotel event center there. And we're trying to work through those aspects of, okay, which of the 6 people who came forward after Turgo and Commonwealth stepped aside, which of those are we going to go with? Well, no matter which one we pick and no matter which one we go with, we know we've got 3 things that were on, well, really 4 things that were on the city's docket, right? The city was picking up the wetlands crossing, the sewer connection along the front side of, or the Independence side of the event center, the sewer along the side, the Sage Hill side of the event center, and then the roadway of Sage Hill between American Way and Independence. Well, wait a minute here. If I'm going to build those 4 things, I want to build them for the least cost possible. I've got a developer who's saying, well, wait a minute, I'll just go build Independence right now. And city, while we're building Independence, fulfilling our obligations as the developer, does the city want to go ahead and participate in these items because we can build them for less now, then we'll be able to build that stuff later, because we all know the nature of construction cost increases. So what we said was, we think that's a great idea. Let's move forward. So I can take off of the city's to-do list the wetlands crossing of Independence, the sewer line along Independence that's necessary for the event center, the sewer line along Sage Hill Parkway from American Way to Independence. And that doesn't get my fourth one done, but it gets 3 of the 4 done. And we can go ahead and pursue that. Don't spend any new money, but go ahead and get the stuff constructed. But what does that mean? That means I've got to rejigger the agreement a little bit so that we can go ahead and, instead of having that money flow through the hotel event center developer and reimburse them to do it, well, we'll just reimburse the landowner, not the developer of the hotel event center, but the landowner, because the landowner's saying, we think these are good expenses, we think we can get these at a good price now, let's go ahead and move forward on those. So the whole idea of the amendment is take ideas that we previously approved by council in October and embed them in a different agreement instead of the old agreement that we had. And in order to do that, instead of having a hotel event center agreement where we're taking care of those financial obligations, we instead do it as an amendment number 1 to the Crossroads Parkway Extension Partnership Agreement from 2020. And I said that without looking at it. So I got that long name spit out.
So
Yes, ma'am.
the original developing pair dropped out. We have 6 other people that are companies that are already that are interested.
Right.
Based on the city's decision on who is best going to give us the deal that is, so we don't have to spend a lot of money on infrastructure, that's the company you're going to choose? Or is this amendment is to a general agreement and we do not have developers for that project?
I would say it this way. Let's get our nomenclature here, and I maybe didn't say it very clearly, so let's use this nomenclature. I have a landowner and I have a building builder, right? My landowner was going to defer to the builder of the hotel event center and say, let them pick up those costs. And now my landowner is saying, well, I'll just pay for it myself, okay? Now, in that case, what that means is that I don't need to work with the building, the builder of the building in order to reimburse them for these costs, right? So one way of doing it, right, is, hey, I'm going to start building vertically up the hotel event center, and when I do that, I'm going to build a wetlands crossing, I'm going to build this sewer line, I'm going to build that sewer line, and so on. Our observation is we would be in a better negotiating position with any of the 6 new guys if we already had that stuff in the ground, right? Because when I'm going to a developer and saying, hey, don't just build a hotel event center, also build the sewer line and the wetlands crossing and blah, 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 then they've got to put that into their pro forma. Even if they're getting reimbursed for it pretty early in the project, they still have to cash flow it, right? So it's additional burden on them. I'm in a better negotiating position as a city if the landowner is willing to build it ahead of time, and that way, when I'm picking which of the 6, I can get a better deal for the city on the hotel event center agreement that we negotiate in the future. I don't want to just hand them the old hotel event center agreement. I'd like to improve the terms for the city, because I'm always trying to push our what's in the best financial interest in the city. And so what I'm saying here is, let's take advantage of the fact that my landowner is willing to spend the money, and that way I don't have to let a hotel event center developer spend the money in the future. That's essentially the idea of what we're doing here. Okay? So to walk through the resolution, so if you pull out resolution 2157, you can kind of walk through this a little bit. Some of it's just the same jargon you've seen before, but you've got a phrase down here. This is maybe the 4th whereas, based on affirmative recommendation of the TIRZ 1 board and the Power Center board, City Council approved Resolution 952 in May 26, 2020, which is the Crossroads Parkway Extension Partnership Agreement with TIRZ 8020 LTD. And that's regarding 167 acres of land. And then later on, this is the sixth whereas, on October 10, 2023, City Council Resolution 2105 authorized the city manager to negotiate, mayor to execute, and this is the references to two of those costs, $500,000 for wetlands, $150,000 for wastewater. Okay, those are what those are. The other wastewater, the wastewater along Sage Hill, got left out of this version, so my apologies on that. But that $500,000 is also part of this. We've got 8020 LTD proposes to expedite construction. This is the second to last one on the front page here. Expedite construction of these improvements prior to development of the Hotel Event Center to provide a complete route from American Way to Spur 557 in an expedited manner. So that's the goal. I'm just trying to expedite the performance there. So I keep going here. Now hereby it be resolved. So I'm gonna skip down to the now therefore section on the next page. We're gonna authorize city manager to negotiate, mayor to execute amendment number 1 to the Crossroads Parkway Extension Partnership Agreement consistent with Exhibit A. Exhibit A is the agreement behind here. And this authorization, I want to be really clear about this because these things get really gummy. We're going to go ahead and authorize that I can sign it, or the mayor can sign it, not just with TIRZ 8020 LTD, but one of their affiliates or assigns, because they're all the time, you guys know this, oh, I'm going to create an LLC just to do that one little bit of the work, right? So as they create a special purpose entity to do this that might be one of their affiliates, I want to be able to sign the agreement with them as that might be necessary, okay? And if they do that, it may be that it would be included in what's said here, a standalone agreement. So we title it Amendment Number 1, but if they assign this right to an affiliate, it wouldn't be Amendment Number 1, it would just be a new standalone agreement, okay? So a little clarity on the legal side of it there. And then we've got Section 2, subject to approval of the design and construction standards by the city engineer. City is going to contribute $500,000 from the Power Center Fund to reimburse developer for successful completion of Independence Parkway. And subject to design and construction standards by city engineer, we're going to contribute $150,000 from the Power Center on to reimburse developer for successful completion. And here's why part of this got left off for you guys. You don't have voting authority on the Hotel Event Center Fund. That's a different fund. On the other hand, that's actually what's supposed to be Section 4 of this resolution. So when it goes to City Council, at least one of you will see it at City Council tomorrow, there'll be an additional section there, right? But we left it off because you're the Power Center, not the Hotel Event Center, okay? And so that's just a bit of clarity there. It'll look a little bit different when it goes to Council because it'll be a reference to the Hotel Event Center Fund as well. And then all of that is just mirroring along Amendment Number 1 to the Crossroads Parkway Extension Partnership Agreement, and this is the Amendment Number 1. The whereases are virtually identical, so I'm not going to read those all to you. You go over here to term, and basically it's saying, look, you got 24 months to do this. So I'm on page 3 of the agreement. First thing that's interesting is term. I've got 24 months to go ahead and get out there and get that work done. We think that's more than reasonable. Developer obligations, they need to go out, build the thing according to city engineers' specifications. City obligations, and again, we wrote this for TIRZ and Power Center. When it goes to City Council, there'll be an additional one related to the Hotel Event Center in the amount of about $500,000. Whenever that happens, we'll have drainage maintenance reimbursement, that's the $500,000 for crossing the wetlands. Water sewer reimbursement, that's out of the $150,000 for that section related to the Hotel Event Center. And then the connection, right, the all-important connection, that's the one left off of this version, and that's the $500,000 for sewer to connect from American Way to Sage Hill. So it seems complicated, but really it's just looking at trying to manage our money correctly. If we held off and we said, hey, hey, landowner, You just go build those limited portions of Independence Parkway that you're interested in building right now, then they're gonna build less Independence Parkway. I won't have the ability to have traffic circulate down Independence Parkway from Spur 557 all the way down to Sage Hill. When I don't have that, then I'm not benefiting from some of the road building out there. To me, for the customers out there and for the people who are going shopping out there and going to Film Alley and all that sort of good stuff, I need them to circulate, right? I'm already, looking at traffic on FM 148 and saying, gosh, I wish I had a road back there to circulate people off of this and let them move from Spur 557 down to Sage Hill in a little bit more of an efficient manner. So since they're willing to build parts of Independence now, I want to sign up for that and go ahead and clear some obligations out and get them constructed ahead of time. So that's basically the idea. Yes, ma'am.
So the landowner is saying, for this project to move forward, I'm going to do this work.
They're offering, yes.
They're offering.
Right. And go ahead.
So in this agreement, I might be reading it wrong, but I don't see so is the developer the landowner?
In terms of that agreement, developer's landowner, yes.
Okay. Should you say that?
It's specified by the name in there, yeah. Because it says TIRZ 8020.
And that's the landowner?
That's the landowner, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So another bit of clarity here is, and again, city's best interest. If they're going to go out and build the minimum, right, what do they have to do? This is always a good question. What's the developer have to do? The developer has to build from here to there because they want to get westward going, right? And once they do that, they could say, well, that's all I want to do. They're looking at that saying, wait a minute, I'm going to mobilize somebody to pour all of the concrete for this apartment complex, pour all the concrete for this right here. Well, why don't I just go ahead and fill in this section of Independence, and why don't I fill in this section of Independence? Well, when they came to us and said that they were interested in doing that, we said, well, heck yeah, that makes all the sense in the world, but they are not willing to do that unless we step up and say, yeah, we'll pay for this, and then we'll pay for some of these sewer extensions over here, okay? So if I let my developer just do the minimum, because I want to sit on the sidelines, then what they'll do is they'll build this little section of Independence right here, and I'll still be waiting on this part of Independence, and I'll still be waiting on this part of Independence, and in my view, that's just not good for traffic out there, it's not good for emergency access out there. I'd rather go ahead and get the road out there, because I know eventually the city is on the hook based on prior actions for those four things that I listed, right? Independence Wetlands Crossing, Independence Sewer Extension, Sage Hill Sewer Extension, and the Sage Hill, which is the NRMA loan, okay? Any other questions? The item before you, if you want to do it, is do you feel like recommending city council adoption of resolution 2157? Knowing, of course, that we didn't reference the event center yet. The event center funds is also going to be putting $500,000 into this. Didn't mention that in here because that's not your voting purview, but when it goes to council, it'll have that additional wording. So.
Is there any other discussion on this? And
I want to be clear, $500,000. Sorry, $500,000 to the wetland crossing drainage expenses of this, and $150,000 to the extension of wastewater service. That's the amount of money we're talking about.
That's the power center money, because that's what you guys as a board have control over. That's the power center money. You've got enough in the bank to do that.
And we're going to give it to them.
We're going to let them build it and then reimburse them.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to walk on it first, right? And when I see it built, then we'll reimburse them for it. Yeah, absolutely.
And the people we're reimbursing is the developer who is the landowner?
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. You're asking a really important question, because I don't want anybody, this goes to your question, Commissioner Hunt, I don't want anybody thinking, aha, they're going to start construction of the hotel event center. I'm going to go try to get a better deal for the city with a different hotel event center developer, and I just want to make sure that if I have this infrastructure out there, it's part of trying to get a better deal for the city, okay?
All right, can I get a motion to approve this?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Discuss project updates. I'm going to assume this is going into executive session.
I'm going to do a little bit out of executive session, and by the way, this could be 3 hours, so I'm really just going to go with your limits of tolerance here on how many updates do you want. It's 12:30. I think I can give you about a 20-minute set of updates, but I'm going to have to kind of roll pretty fast, so y'all just say time out when you're tired of listening to me, okay? Because there's just a ton. Dagnabbit! I set myself up. Mark, make a note for me, never ask that question again. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you go to that PowerPoint real quick? Thanks.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna sit where Nicole is. Matter pause. Okay. Yeah, what they got there, that's fine. I'm gonna go relatively quick because you will appreciate it. Gosh, there's a lot going on. We have recording this. Awesome. Okay, so again, I'm not going to go over a whole bunch of details, but this is what we refer to as the Complete Streets Project. And the Complete Streets Project has a great result thus far, which is we're about to enter an agreement with TxDOT, Regional Transportation Council, Kaufman County, City of Terrell, Paddock Board related to, do we like the ideas, right? So there's a good design for US 80, a good design for Spur 226. We can show you all those plans if you like. And basically the idea is that we were just being responsive to community input. Community said, hey, long-term, as long as we can keep the on-street parking and beautify it, we're good to go. TxDOT said, we really don't want to do a one-way couplet, and it's really expensive, and their design considerations for it are kind of out of this world. So we said, okay, what do we want to do on US 80? We want to eventually have wider sidewalks by taking out turn lanes, center turn lanes, but we're going to let TxDOT pay for that whenever the natural life cycle of the road means that they incur the expense of tearing up and rebuilding it. So one day, 10, 15, 20 years from now, when they raise their hand and say we're ready to rebuild US 80 because of the design life of the concrete, then they'll do it according to our specifications. And that seemed better management of what we're doing, and that's why the Paddock Board paid for the landscape upgrades out there, because we're just going to let US 80 be for a while. Spur 226 has a design, and we're looking at grant opportunities for it. So that's Complete Streets, and again, I'm doing lightning round here. State Hospital entrance, we're working on land acquisition now and engineering, and TxDOT will be building about a $4 to $5 million project that will allow us to get the entrance to the state hospital out of the residential area at the corner of Dulles and Bryn, and instead the entrance and all of that traffic will go on a driveway, and that driveway will be accessing directly off of US 80. Quiet zones, we have a quiet zone.
That driveway, that'll be development, land that can be developed, right?
Actually, all of that land right now, I wouldn't say all of it, but a very large amount of that land that we're buying for the state hospital to have that entry road, it's just floodplain. Yeah, there's a big old drainage structure they have to build through there. So you won't, from the driver's standpoint, you're driving along US 80, you'll see a big old entrance sign, but you won't see any buildings or stuff up there because you'll have a nice little winding road to take to get to where the new hospital will be. And that new hospital is the one funded by the state of Texas this latest legislative session, around $600 million.
You're talking about the state hospital.
State hospital, right. So, state hospital will build a $600 million building. TxDOT will build a $4 million road, and all we had to do was agree to do the land acquisition and the engineering on the entry road. Okay, so that's what we're incurring those expenses on our side. Here is the application that we're putting in for the quiet zones. Bradshaw, Bowser, Ann, Rockwall, Francis, Catherine, Adelaide, Delphine. Delphine actually gets closed. It's the only closure, so that's good news. And then Garner. That will give us a quiet zone that goes from Garner all the way over to FM 148. That means, in terms of sounding a train horn, you're pretty far east of Terrell before you're sounding that horn. And obviously, you're past FM 148 when you're sounding a horn over there. So that's a big old chunk. We're very happy about that. That application is about to go in. Council approved the application here recently, and it's just moving along its merry way. And it includes some stuff around it. We found that Broad Street would be eligible because it connects all of these roads right here in the main part of downtown, and then doing some paving work on South Alley is going to be in that grant application as well. And we won't know until probably early 2025 if we were the winners of that. Bowser gets a brand new, really big old entry, so that's a good thing. We're contemplating doing some extensions to get a little bit further into some of the neighborhood areas there. And the Paddock Board looks like they're going to be willing to take on the expense of doing some of these green extensions that aren't federally eligible, but we think they'll be better for the community if we can do that. So Paddock Board's looking at those. So people ask about land acquisition and what we're doing in downtown. So here's a quick update on that. If it's green, it's where we think Town Square will be in the future. If it's surrounded by yellow squares, it's land that the city of Terrell currently owns, okay? If it's black, that means that we have an agreement to purchase or that we're otherwise about to purchase. So Union Pacific is, man, they go slow, but we are under contract to buy all of these parcels up here. So this is the one that the railroad depot is on. These are the two vacant lots. This is a little chunk of mystery, strange shape. We're not sure why they own it or why it's all cut up like this, but that's what we're acquiring.
So that's railroad land.
That's all Union Pacific Railroad right there, and they've agreed to sell that to us. I've been working on that for 15 years, so been hard drag any agreement out of Union Pacific. And then down here is where Newton will get realigned, and we have two of these under contract right now, and the third one we are going through an eminent domain process on. So, you know, we're made good progress here, and we have an agreement that's waiting to be approved by Bethlehem Baptist Church because they own this chunk right here where their parking lot is, and we have an agreement in principle with them that's been approved by City Council that we think they're happy with, but we're working out some of the details there.
And what is this? That is to the left with the black squares you said was going to be eminent domain?
That is where Newton gets realigned. Right now, that's a great question. So right here, this is where Newton currently is.
Okay.
In order to do the swap with Bethlehem Baptist Church, what they wanted to do is Bethlehem Baptist Church owns this. So I showed up all nervous wanting to talk to Pastor Rollerson about, well, gosh, how could we do something that maybe we could acquire this little chunk over here? We wanted it to be voluntary. We don't want to have any adversarial relationship with a local church. And I said, well, you know, what would happen if we asked you if we could acquire this stuff right here, because this is part of the town square, and maybe we could help you relocate a parking lot down here. To which Pastor Rollerson said, well, hey, I suggested that to the city 20 years ago because we would really like to have a parking lot that you could park in it and walk and not have to cross the street. We don't want a street between our parking lot and our church. We'd rather have a parking lot down here. And I said, well, great, we can get a deal done. In order to do that, I've got to close Newton here, which City Council voted for a few months ago, and I've got to open a new stretch of Newton over here.
But to do that, you've got to take that land.
Yes, those are vacant lots right now, and we're working on that acquisition right now.
No homes are on those properties.
No houses on there, nope, just vacant land and.
What
and
does the owners haven't gotten back with you?
I believe that we have 2 of them have signed voluntary agreements to sell to us, and I believe that one of them, we could not find an owner, and I think I just said that backwards. I think 2 of them, we couldn't find owners, and we're going through eminent domain, and one of them is a voluntary acquisition. So the only eminent domain process we're using there is with lost owners that you can't find. We go through a certain process, and you're doing it technically by eminent domain. You're just noticing owners, you've disappeared, we can't find you, and we've been working for probably a year and a half to find the owners. So that's where that one stands.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to flip all the way down a little bit later. So okay, this is that zone, right? So there's that Bethlehem Baptist parking lot. This is Newton down here. I go up here. These are the 2 warehouses that are still active, and the tenant who sold us these 2 buildings, they move out in April of 2025. You've seen recently that we've done some demo in this area, this Merco building, this building right here, not the silos, but the building. We put this out for auction because we felt like we could get a
Yeah, how
price.
did that go?
We're still waiting, And so we auctioned this and this, and we shall see what those bids come out to be. So this is just lay of the land right now. So we made this to sort of show what's the next step. What would we like to get done by summer 2025? So this building, which you could call the Wall of Honor building over here, that mural is basically complete now, but we've got some more work to do to put some wording on it, get a clear coat to preserve it on top of it. We'll do some more work to make sure the silos are preserved and protected. The existing warehouse over here will be vacant. We'll be working on demoing this one right here, and we should only have this one there. And then, of course, we've got to make some Newton Street improvements. And this is the visual of that idea I was just talking to you about what are we doing with this parking lot. So this parking lot becomes city ownership, but in order to achieve that, we've got to do this gaggle of improvements right over here in this area with Newton now going across here, and then you have to go turn off of Medora. Now you'll just go down to Newton, you'll turn on Francis and go around. So this is summer 2025, okay? Then I turn over here and say, well, what are we nicknaming the greening phase? This is something that I really want people to realize has been a major goal. We just need to get to a clean slate. We need to get to a point where we can start putting things on top of it. This seems easy, right? Oh, well, we'll just turn it green. Get rid of the streets, make it green. Get rid of the power poles, make it green. That's a lot easier said than done, right? So I don't want to put a date on this, but this is our project that we're working on right now. How can I make it so that I really just have green from Newton to Broad, Francis to Adelaide? I got to demolish streets. I got to make this into a little bit of a park maintenance building here so that I can mow it and weed eat it and keep it clean and tidy. We'll have some trees we can keep. We'll have some trees we can't keep where there's some existing trees down there. We'll be able to have a little bit of temporary parking where that existing Bethlehem parking is. We'd like to find a tenant to lease up this warehouse and provide some sort of family-friendly reuse. So Paddock Board will be working on partnership opportunities there, and we'd like to get some murals or some painting and some preservation done on the silo renovation. And here again, big statement, land area graded to drain. Okay, sounds simple, but that's really what we need to work on right now. And we don't want to go over-promising anything. I can't build a library until I have some more of the roads. I can't build a library till I work with Encore to take down power poles and reorient that. So this should be what everybody's thinking is what we're aiming for right now with greening. We're just trying to get a good blank slate. Once we have this, we can go to Texas Parks and Wildlife and try to get grant funds. We can start working on locating and building a library. We can start working on splash pad and all the other fun things that people want to do. I got to do this first, okay? So that's really a quick status report on that project. Yes, sir.
Can you speak to what ideas y'all have about the warehouse, what you would like to see in
Yeah,
there?
you know, we've thrown a ton of ideas out, and I'm going to say that because the funding partner for that is going to be the Park and Downtown Improvement Corporation, they'll have a heavy input on it, but all of the things that would naturally come to mind, right? Can we do some sort of youth sports in there that would be anything from, you know, batting cages to just something kids want to do to stay active? It's not really building height appropriate for trampoline park, right? People have asked me that question. Hey, could we get an urban air in there? No, not really, because the building height's not the right height.
How many square feet is it?
It is 250 by 100, so it's 25,000 square feet. And that's a good chunk, right? You know, so we've talked to the British Flying Training School Museum about it. I'm assuming that we will just keep throwing out good ideas. So if you've got an idea, then let me know. We'll get it to Raylan. Raylan, Tori Lucas will work on it as part of the paddock board operations, and we'll just see where we want to go with it. Okay?
You know, that complex they have over there in Rockwall off 205, where they have like indoor soccer and
Yeah.
things like that, that'd be something.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's amazing. You go over to the Excel Center, you might say, oh, well, the Excel's doing that. No, the Excel's full. You know, it is constantly used. So having something else here in downtown that would be good youth sports opportunity, we think we'll be able to figure something out. But I just don't want to say, well, it's exactly this right now. You know, we've got time, and we'll get a good match there.
Yeah.
And it sits on how much land?
All of this together, I'm going to forget my total acreage right now, but I believe the entire town square is about 9 or 10 acres. So we've got a pretty good amount of space there. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's a quick update just on the downtown stuff. And now, if you could pop into executive session.
Okay. Adjourn into executive session in accordance with Section 551 of Texas Government Code to discuss the following: tax increment reinvestment zones 1, 2, 3, 4, Power Center Board meeting, May 13, 2024.